Morning everyone, welcome back. I've had a little bit of a break, been quite busy last week or so, reopening the shop and that sort of stuff, so priorities and all that, but we're back out this morning. It's absolutely fabulous this morning after a couple of days of really drab weather. The weather at the minute, it's all over the place. You can see from some of this B-roll, May the 5th, the day I'm recording this, and the tops of the fells are white. Global warming, honestly, if this isn't climate change, I don't know what is. The season's becoming more and more extreme. I mean, I remember the start of the golf season being this time of year, you know, shorts and t-shirts and all that, but yeah, it's really quite cold this morning. So anyway, I've come up to Holme Fell because I came here a few weeks ago to try and film a vlog that you didn't actually see. It was a complete write-off. The light was really quite terrible, and there wasn't really anything on the trees at that point. Now obviously we're coming into spring now and there's a bit more foliage on the trees, so I've decided to have a little return visit because we've got clear skies overhead, which doesn't really make for a good sort of colourful sunrise, but that's not really what we're after here today. This is a well sort of photographed place. I'm sure many of you'll be aware of that, but at this time of year when the trees are just coming into new growth and the colours on them are still quite fresh, it's a really lovely place. So you've got like about a 6-week window here to catch a shot of these trees while they're in this colour before they turn that sort of muddy green colour in summer. I'll just talk you through the shot I'm looking at. I've had to work quite quickly here this morning because, as you'll be aware, at sunrise sun's up very quick and it's very high in the sky almost immediately, so you haven't really got an awful lot of time to get composed. Now this view here, we're getting lovely side light on all these trees. There's a shot down here that I'm sure many of you'll be aware of. There's a couple of sort of lone trees sort of close together that everyone tends to photograph. I'm trying to avoid that. To be honest, I don't think I've ever actually shot that view previously. I've always tried to avoid it, but the one I'm going for, I mean, I don't know if these trees in the foreground are those two trees, but I'm trying to shoot them in a different way if they are. But the shot we're looking at, I'm envisaging this one being a sort of 16:9 crop, losing a lot of the bottom of the foreground because there's nothing really going on here but a lot of dead ground. And then we've got this lovely recession of light going off into the distance as the sun's just rising up there over the top of what it'd be Tom Heights over across the other side of the valley there. I've got the 20-40-200 on. I'm about 45mm and shooting this at f8. I don't want everything absolutely pin sharp. I just want the focus to sort of fall off into the distance there. 3-shot bracket. I mean, grads here are an absolute waste of time when the light's this strong, shooting straight into the sun. So I'm going to be doing that thumb trick that I showed on a previous video, where you sort of stick your thumb out into the scene to block the flare. And yeah, hopefully this one will be a good one to start the day. Right, I'm just going to sit myself down a sec just while I'm waiting to get this next shot. Yeah, just to talk to you about a couple of bits of gear that I've sort of changed in my bag. Now, I don't really want to talk too much about gear on this channel because really they're a tool to do a job for me. I'm not that interested in gear, but very briefly, the two things I've changed. Firstly, the drone. Now, over this over this last 9 months doing these videos for this channel, I've really enjoyed doing the drone videography far more than I thought I was going to. And the drone I've been using, the Mavic Air 2, is a really capable drone for what you're getting in such a small package. But there have been a couple of occasions where I've been out, and I'm thinking specifically to some of the mornings that I've had on this channel where I've been above an inversion or something like that. And I've always had this nagging feeling in my mind, and I never thought I'd have this because I've never been into drone photography, but I wished I had a drone that could take better stills. And the one I had, while it was a very capable drone for the still side of things, it was lacking a little bit. And that's no fault of the drone. It's, you know, it's very capable. It's just the size of the sensor. And really, for comparison, I would say the stills that I was getting out of it were about on a par with a good iPhone shot, which is great for social media and all that sort of stuff. But really, in terms of printing them, you'd be struggling to go past A3 without degrading the quality on it. So with the Air 2S that's just come out, basically the same drone but with a much bigger sensor. It's a 1-inch sensor, which I think is the same size as the Mavic 2 Pro. This should hopefully be a really good option for me while I'm out in the field to get drone stills and hopefully be able to sell a few prints from them in the gallery. Now, I'm going to have to improve my drone photography, obviously, because it's like anything else. It's a skill in itself. You can't just sort of plonk the thing up in the sky and expect to take great photos. So I'm going to knuckle down and try and improve my drone photography. I'm going to include a bit more of that in these videos going forward. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. This drone's a step up again in video quality, although you probably won't notice much difference in that. But for stills, so far from the test shots I've done, it's a big upgrade. The second thing, very briefly, I have switched to the case magnetic system rather than using the grads, because really, to be honest, what you can do in post-processing now, non-destructively, with exposure blending and that sort of stuff, the dynamic range on this Z7, there's not an awful lot of point in using grads. Now, that isn't a knock to people who use grads, and if it forms part of your workflow and it works for you, that's absolutely great, and carry on using them. For me, they don't really fit with my system anymore, and obviously with walking up the fells and stuff, you want to try and save every last bit of weight you can in your kit bag. So so going forward, I'll be on the circular system with case. I have mentioned on a previous video I've been attached to case for about 2.5 years now, and great company, and they've sorted me out with these filters, so yeah, big thank you to them. Right, I'm gonna stop waffling about gear and go and get this shot. Got to be a bit careful here. It's a bit spongy around here. Yeah, I think we might have peaked with that first shot. It looked pretty decent on the back of the camera, but the problem we've got at this time of year is that the sun is up so quick. Well, saying it's up so quick, it's so high in the sky so quick, that you've really only got about maybe 45 minutes to an hour of what you would call usable light, and then after that it's just too high. So you haven't got an awful lot of time after that to explore and find other compositions. So I've been dashing around a little bit to try and find another shot. I mean, I am conscious though with these vlogs that I don't want to sort of fill them with shot after shot after shot. It's never been my approach in photography. I'd far rather come out and spend all day getting one decent shot than 4 or 5 average ones. Now, there's nothing to say that that first one's a really good shot, but I'd far rather spend a lot more time concentrating on it than, you know, sort of flitting around too much, worrying about getting more and more shots for the vlog. But anyway, onto this shot. Similar sort of format to what we were going for before. Does that make sense? Trying to keep the sky out of this again because, as I mentioned earlier, we've got blue skies, and really this morning it's about shooting these trees with the nice backlight, keeping the sky out of it, and using Tom Heights in the distance as a nice backdrop. Shooting this one in portrait, about 135mm, again with the 24-200. Really impressed with the results I'm getting out of this lens, I must say. And yeah, just shooting for the light here more than anything else. When you walk across this side of Holme Fell, I mean, I mentioned earlier about those 2 trees that everyone shoots, But I mean, really, you could pick any number of trees in a similar sort of vein and you get a similar result. So yeah, I'm going for these two here. Hopefully this one will work out okay. And yeah, I don't know if this will be the last shot of the day or not, because the light is already getting harsh now. We're about an hour after sunrise and it's getting pretty tough at the moment. But yeah, I'll put this one on the screen. Let me know what you think. Right, I'm gonna leave this one here, I think, because the light's too harsh now. I was saying before, you're lucky if you get 45 minutes at this time of year, and the sunrises are getting painfully early. Every year I always say I'm going to do less summer sunrises, and well, fewer should I say, summer sunrises, and I always end up dragging myself out. But yeah, this year I think I'm going to concentrate on doing a few more sunsets, I think, because if you've got to do a day's work after doing this, it can be an unpleasant experience spending the rest of the day like a zombie. But it's been lovely this morning, really nice to come up here in spring. Normally I tend to come up here during the heather season, during mid-August or in autumn. So yeah, it's been really nice to see the fresh spring greens. Hopefully I've come away with a couple of decent images as well. Just one other thing before I go, my latest newsletter's just gone out to the mailing list. If you don't subscribe to that already, please consider doing that. Every month I put a few articles in there, a photographer feature and a few giveaways. This month I've got a cracking interview with Dave Fieldhouse, who's an exceptional landscape photographer but also does a bit of street photography as well. So yeah, well worth a look at that. And I've also got a competition currently running from the last newsletter in March that closes on the 22nd of May, I think. I may extend that, I don't know. But it's an open theme, just submit your best springtime image and I'll pick 3 winners out of that lot. The first prize will get an A2 frame print, so well worth a look at that as well. But I'm going to leave this one here because I think I've had my fill and I wouldn't mind getting back for a quick nap before heading into the gallery for work. Keep liking and subscribing, look after yourselves, and I'll see you on the next one.